Welcome to the Legion of Impact, where our goal is to bring you tactical ideas, insights, and meaningful conversations to help you build a life that you're proud of and positively impact the world. Now for your host, Anthony Hamilton.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Legion of Impact. My name is Anthony. I'm the host of this podcast. And on this podcast, guys, we try to bring you conversations and, tools and tips and tricks and all sorts of things to help you live better, be better, and just have an all-around better life. For us, it's in the world of business, but then, it's directly applicable to the real world. So with me today, but virtually remote, is Joshua Garnish. He was on the last episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Hope you got to know him a little bit or get to meet him a little bit. So we got him here today, and we got a fun one for you. Nothing really super planned, but a lot of important stuff nonetheless to talk about. So what's going on with you, Josh? How you been?
Been well, back here in New York now. I know last episode I broadcasted from southern West Virginia, Huntington area. Now back home and with the family. Happy to be home around them and get ready for the holidays here.
It's always a little bit rejuvenating, getting back with the family. Anytime that dude, I know when Avery and I went out to Colorado, actually 2 times, both times, it was just like swearing back and forth, like, man, next time we're bringing the family, and
literally,
yeah,
yep.
It's just,
I could do it.
While you're home, it's funny because while you're home, like everybody does it. Everyone's like, man, I wish I just had a little bit of space. I just wish I had like just a little time to myself. Right. But then when you actually get that time kind of to yourself, you're like, man, I'm bored,
Yeah. And you're FaceTiming them in the morning, middle of the day, evening.
Yep. So but it's all good. It's always good to be back with them, and especially with, the kiddos and stuff. For them, it seems like an eternity that you're gone, even if it's just the day, because their timeline is so like crunched. If it's a day, it seems like it's like a year to them, So just kind of funny. So what'd you learn out there? You learn any good things? Network with good people? How'd that go?
Yeah. So as far as learning a lot of the Southern hospitality, I know I'd obviously been to Florida and whatnot, but it's a whole nother world, I guess, in more of the heartland area.
Yeah.
I had spent an extended period of time there before, so that was interesting. Definitely loved the lifestyle, a lot slower paced. I know I touched on the hospitality aspect of it, but everybody looking out for everybody.
Yep.
We do have a little bit here in the Western New York area. I know they say, what is it? There's something with Buffalo and Rochester. There's some kind of friendly city kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. So Rochester, I only know this because we were doing research for our channel, and Rochester is coined as the city of friendly neighbors. And so what we say and what I say in my channel is that Rochester, like this area, is the city of friendly neighbors 2.0. Just because we're so close. Like I don't know who came up with that or who coined that, and but I find it for the most part to be true. Most people are friendly here. I wouldn't say on a Southern hospitality level, but most people are cool.
Yeah. If someone's in need, someone's going to help you out. It's definitely living in New York City for 3 years. It's definitely you're more of a lone wolf, kind of everyone does their own thing, solitary vibe. And then you come up here or go down there and it's just like everybody helping everybody. Everyone's interested in everybody. It's two worlds.
I always talk about especially now with, how society has gotten with men just being weak, I always talk about the bystander effect, which says that somebody's not going to stop to help somebody else unless someone else is already helping them, and then they feel comfortable enough to go stop and help. Right. So the way the study was, I think it was like somebody was like getting beat up on the sidewalk or something, and I'm pretty sure they were actors, but it was people just walking by and I think it was done by Oxford. But anyway, so people would just keep walking by, like watching this person get beat up until one person stopped and then more people joined in to help. And I feel like here, or well, in New York City, I would say, that is very relevant where people just mind their own, they're minding their own business. They're doing their own thing, and they don't help unless somebody else is already taking the initiative to do it. Most people in like those areas, they're just very like absorbed, or like they're focused on what's going on in their world. Right. Whereas here, I think people slow down a little bit and they think about other people a little bit more, about helping other people a little more. They're not as, they're not trying to get somewhere as quickly. And, they allow themselves more time to be able to adapt to situations like that, to be able to help and, pay for the person in the drive-through behind them, or, whatever it is. So, that's, have you traveled to other places besides the United States? Like, have you been out of the country?
Other than Canada and the Dominican Republic, I think those are the only two places, but yeah. So Canada doesn't count, but
yeah. So you said though, where you went in Dominican was like super poor, right?
Yeah. So I went down and I traveled to the Santo Domingo area.
Yep.
So that's the southern, I guess, central area there. And my in-laws' family is from there. So we went and visited their family, and I mean, couldn't be more gorgeous of a place. But when you get into the slums areas, when they're telling you to hide anything of value, don't show your phone, don't show your watch, just basically don't look like you're not from here, which is obviously for us impossible. But it's definitely a humbling thing seeing how they live, and I don't know, it's it's interesting. Yeah,
that's what I say that the best education I've ever got was traveling. Thankfully paid for by the U.S. government, by good old Uncle Sam. But
in your service,
it's the most enlightened I've ever been. It's the most the biggest perspective change. Did I tell you the story about the kids in Thailand? Like going out and playing soccer barefoot in a gravel lot?
No, I don't think you did, but I do know that, hearing from like Southern American countries and knowing that's how they practice, and pretty much why they're as good as they are at soccer.
Dude. So like we would do what we called comrails. It was community relations. And so we'd go to local schools. In one area specifically, we were in Banchan Krim, which is, I believe it's like 5 minutes from Cambodia. So it's a very like impoverished area. And we'd go and like we'd sit down with them, like go through their class with them or whatever. And then we would like play soccer, and they had this other sport called tacker ball, which is fucking an incredible, dude, this game, tacker ball, it's like this little, it's like the size of a softball, but it's a plastic woven like ball. And they play it on a volleyball court, and except it's like in the sand, in a volleyball net, and you can't touch it with your hands. So it's like volleyball with a smaller ball, and it's plastic, and you can't touch it with your hands. So it's your feet and your head and any other body part. And dude, like look it up on YouTube, tacker ball, man. It is these dudes, they're doing like somersault kicks and stuff to get the ball over the net, man. Incredible. They're like 10 years old and they're crushing it. And so anyway, but we'd go play soccer with them, and their soccer fields were gravel lots, like literally gravel and rocks. And they would take off their shoes, and we'd ask one of the teachers, who was an American citizen going teaching there, why are they taking off their shoes? And she said, because it's the only shoes that they have, and they can't get them dirty for school. It's against like the public school system, basically. They can't get them dirty
or ruin them.
Yep. Yeah. And so they would play barefoot, no bitches or complaints. And then, we, us Marines, we had the nerve to bitch about our Jordans getting creased or something, like, and then after school they would walk home barefoot, like, keep in mind, in Thailand, it's like 100 degrees. the roads, either if they are paved, they're going to be hot as fuck.
Yeah.
And so, dude, they were happy as can be though. Anytime that we would come to town, we'd set up our little base out there, and all of them would bring their businesses out there. So they'd set up their tents and stuff, and just in case it rained or something, so that they wouldn't get rained on, or their shop wouldn't get rained on. But then they had a single mattress set on the floor, and like that's what they slept on. It was like on the ground, and dude, wild stuff, man. But they were happy. They were like, they were in good spirits and everything. And we had the nerve to bitch about the things that we had. And literally, like, if you look at a documentary about, say, like an African tribe or something, I felt like that was similar to what we were experiencing with these people. It's like, no shoes. They're walking around barefoot. Their clothes aren't like great. At least in this part of Thailand. Then if you went to the like bigger areas, like the bigger cities of Thailand, they were more like quote unquote civilized, or, had nicer
Advanced.
things. Yeah. But dude, it's a different perspective on human life out there. And we here have the nerve to bitch about things that we have. And it's like
first world problems.
Yeah, dude, exactly. and I think that more kids now, so much anxiety and like depression and shit would be just cured. People wouldn't have it if they just got out and experienced the world and were able to change their perspective on life, because dude, the worst thing that happens to you is the worst thing that happens to you. Like it's all relative to what we've experienced before.
Yeah. Your experiences. So
like if, there's certain things that are like the end of the world to people, right? But another person looks at it and is like, what the hell are you bitching about? It could be so much worse. Right. So it's just, it's crazy to me, but I think that needs to be a part of the school system, is traveling and getting out of the state for one, but out of the country into like a third world country, and actually go out and live, somewhere else for a little while. 'Cause dude, you learn so much from it. And it's
don't get enough global studies.
It's not like, obviously it's not textbook stuff. You're not learning it in a textbook. You can read all you want about how someone else lives or whatever, but until you go experience it, until you go feel what they're feeling and how they're living, and like live a day like that, bro, it's not even close. Like, these international studies classes in universities and stuff, man, they're just, it's all theory, but those kids would go out and like, they want to learn about it, but if they actually went out and experienced it, man, they would cry every single night, because they don't have the comforts of their dorm room or whatever, like, or their cell phone or something. So bro, like, I think that was one of the biggest game changers for me, was just getting out and experiencing the world. And I'm so thankful for that, dude, because it's been a game changer for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It makes me think about like everything going on more of the war torn areas of the world right now, as far as Ukraine, Russia, and obviously the Middle East with Hamas and Israel and all that going on. And I mean, everyone that's caught up in those conflicts. And
dude, there's no winners.
I mean, we see it a lot more now with the social media aspect of it, so you can kind of live vicariously, we'll say, through those videos and everything. So you do see that portion of it more often. I mean, that's obviously more popular, seeing war than just seeing poorness, I guess, so to speak. But it definitely gives you a perspective as far as being here in America, and the whole safety aspect of everything is definitely changing.
And what's crazy about that too is what we see, honestly, a lot of what we see is the propaganda that surrounds it. We're not seeing the full truth of everything, on any side.
They don't want us to have that.
No, we're very restricted. Like, we think that we have like free range of information and stuff here, man. No, we're getting misfed information.
Yep.
You know, it's basically whatever they want us to see, whatever parts they want us to see. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And you know, that it's the same in business, right? You're only seeing, the headlines that the Fed wants you to see. You're only seeing the headlines that NAR wants you to see. You're only seeing the headlines that, BlackRock wants you to see, you know?
Yeah. Whatever's the best optics for them is what gets put out there,
dude. And that's yeah. You said the word there, optics. It's crazy because
that's a big terminology right there.
Yeah, well, especially, I mean, you come from the political world. That's a big thing. In the Marine Corps, that was a big thing too. It was optics. Anytime anybody higher up came on base or was just like at our company headquarters or something, or was just near our place of work, bro, it was like you had to tighten up. You had to like, yes, dude, it was, you had to play like you were working, right? Like it was an act. And
like when I was a lifeguard at Roseland, every
act
time
like you're doing something, like
the head guards rolled around, you're just, yep. I'm checking everything.
Yep. You're making sure you're blowing the whistle extra, like just to act like you're doing something important, and that they're not going to look at you and be like, man, that shitbag's not doing shit, you know? But man, optics, man, it's a good word. And it's so relevant. It's like, that's what everybody is. I mean, speaking of optics though, man, like, I think of optics now in our world. I think of optics as like social media, right? That's, for me, that's a big part of optics is being seen. Who's seeing you? What, I mean, you're newer into real estate. What challenges are you having right now in social media? 'Cause you know, you put out what, one video, one reel, and it was good. It was good, but then nothing since then.
I actually heard that feedback that I need to do more of those. That it's actually one of my cousins. He's like, man, that was really good. And I was surprised to even hear it from him because he's more soft spoken, but he's like, you need to do more of that because that was really good. And I was like, oh, really? You thought so? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah. So what challenges are you facing with that?
The challenge aspect of it, I guess more or less is just feeling more confident, I guess.
Yep.
And that I know things that other people don't, which I do. And it's hard to really grasp that you have that expertise, you have that knowledge as far as both Medicare, because I haven't even put out a Medicare video yet that I need to do. Also, the real estate, that obviously we take our 75-hour courses and then we take our recertifications and then we live it every day. So we know all of these things. And it's hard to comprehend with people. And even when I'm just speaking in, I think the word I'm looking for is layman's terms, just speaking to people face to face, it's hard to comprehend that they don't understand. It's like I'm speaking another language, whether you're speaking about real estate in certain terminologies, as well as Medicare when I'm talking about Part A, B, C, D, Medigap, your copays, co-insurances, your drug tiers, and all these things. You just start seeing the people's heads spinning. And my father-in-law uses the analysis paralysis kind of term as far as you're giving people too much information and their brain just kind of shuts down at that point. And we all experience that sometimes, drinking from the fire hose, so to speak. But to get back to the question, as far as just, I guess, staying consistent and maybe more of the information and editing, I don't know. Once I feel a little bit more confident, I think things will get rolling. But
that's something I would like to do with you, is like show you my workflow of it. You know, exactly how I do it just from start to finish. Because you know, once you get your proper workflow, like it's quick. You know, it's relatively quick. My question to you is so with your Medicare, where does that audience live?
So as far as like the social media clients, are you talking about my clients or people who I would be kind of projecting my information to?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So pretty much the entire nation. Okay. As far as I'm licensed currently only in New York and West Virginia at the moment. Obviously, moving my license to West Virginia as well, I'm going to be expanding elsewhere. And eventually have, I don't know how many my father-in-law has as far as his licenses, and also the gentleman who I was down there in West Virginia with, how many he has, but I know he's got a good portion of the states. You usually just pay a fee to have your license there.
Yep.
And certain carriers will have you also pay a fee. Other ones just let you do it for free. It's we're getting into the weeds as far as the Medicare aspect goes, but as far as the audience, anyone, as far as if you're on Medicare, if you're on disability for 24 months, you automatically qualify for Medicare. Lou Gehrig's disease, end-stage renal disease. People don't know about this, and you're automatically thrust into it, and they tell you in your letter that you get when you're qualified, oh, if you don't sign up for this, you're going to face a 10% penalty for every year you don't have your Part B, which is pretty much your medical insurance for your doctors. And if you go 63 days without your Part D insurance, which is your drug or prescription, you're charged 1% every month. You don't have it for the rest of your life. So those can be pretty hefty if you don't get into it. And people need to know these things, and they don't really know because the government just throws it on you and is like, here's your insurance, and you don't have choice. You have to have it.
Yep.
But that Medicare is obviously all of the states. It's all 50 states. And people typically get it confused with Medicaid, which is more financial, and Medicare, which is typically 65 years or older people who are eligible for Medicare. But you also have individuals who are, like I said, 24 months. So when you get your 25th Social Security disability check, that's SSDI, not SSI. So for SSI, your social or supplemental social income. I'm trying to think of the exact terminology, but I know it's SSI. Those people don't qualify. So that gets even more confusing, and we're going more into the weeds with it. But so pretty much anybody who could use this information. It's more national. I wouldn't really get into too much of the benefits because then you're crossing a compliance line. But when you're talking just general knowledge, you can pretty much say whatever you want as long as it's factual.
So the reason I ask is my impression was that it was mainly people 65 and older. And so where I was going with the question is where do those people live, right? The 65 and older, what platforms are they on? So typically
Facebook.
Yes. Yeah. So Facebook versus Instagram, right?
Generation.
So most of them, there are some, but most of them are going to be on Facebook versus Instagram. They're
Correct.
mostly not going to be on Instagram. So if I were,
T65s maybe.
So if I were you, or if I were in that position where I'm looking to market to these people, most of my Medicare stuff I think would be it would live on Facebook, and then a majority of your real estate stuff would live on Instagram, because Instagram is more of a audience that
universal.
Yep. It's going to be mostly people who are starting to buy houses, right? And, or investing or something like that, younger, our age. And then, the Medicare clients, most of them are going to be on Facebook. And so maybe what I would do is trickle a little bit of the Medicare stuff into Instagram, maybe into Instagram stories or something. But then make most of your content, on the feed of your page, be real estate related stuff. And then Facebook, you can do both. I think on Facebook, you're good to do both, because people can actually kind of go further in depth in Facebook and see that you do both. And so if somebody is 65 and older and they find your page or they see a video of you or something, they can go to your page. They can see that you're a Medicare rep. But then they can also see that you sell real estate too. Whereas Instagram, I think, is more specialized. In
way more personal.
Yeah. I was just thinking but then as far as, you were talking about what to kind of make content about, you were saying things in layman terms, but people kind of get confused or whatever. What I learned is that the things that we think are so trivial in this business, right? We think about, say, an earnest money deposit, right? We think, oh man, everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
No.
And so like something like that,
Will I get my money back?
Yeah, right. As simple as
am I going to get this back?
Yeah, as simple as that concept is for us to understand, a lot of people don't know what that is, or an escalation clause, right? Or you know, what an appraisal is versus assessment versus so there's market value, there's assessed value, and there's appraised value. What are the differences between the three? Because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, well, my assessment is $230,000. Yeah, but you can probably sell your house for $350,000, you know? And so one is for tax purposes, one is for the bank purposes, and one is for actual purchasing, like, you know? So what somebody who's ready, willing, and able will actually pay for the house. So there's differences in what we think is just common sense stuff because we've learned it. Most people don't know that. They don't live in this world. So they're easy videos to make, and just kind of break it down dummy style, you know? That's, you know, I think a lot of agents kind of go wrong with, they try and get too complex with things.
Overcomplicate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you don't need to because
Definitely me.
People just want to, they want to know the basics and they can understand the basics. You know, when you spend more time with them, that's when you can go further into the weeds once they get a good understanding of what these things actually mean. But you know, the basics is the most important part, just to get and really the goal of any of the videos is to establish yourself as the authority to keep planting seeds in their mind. Yeah. You keep planting seeds in their mind so that, you know, eventually that tree builds. So then when it comes time for them to buy or sell, they can't think of anyone else besides you because that tree is planted, you know? And it's through the seeds of each of your videos is a seed that will continue to grow. So the more seeds you plant, the more likely you are to build a tree. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, you know, it's super important stuff. And you know, I hate seeing, new agents struggle because they just like, it is as simple as just like getting your face out there. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's quick, but it's simple.
Yep.
You know,
it's not going to be painful, but
yeah. You know, it's simple and, you know, with enough consistency and persistence and perseverance, it'll happen. You know, people will start coming. And then once you get one or two, clients from a video or something like that, those can float you until you get the next ones, you know?
Yeah.
And all it takes is
fuel your fire for sure. You're like, all right, I'm doing this every day. Like,
yep, exactly. No, once you get your first one, it's just like, let's see, it's like golf, right? Like when you say you have a sick drive, like,
you pipe that 300-yard drive straight down,
right?
All right, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Yep. No hook. You're like, man, I'm
better a shot over 100.
Yeah. It's, yeah. And then the first time you shoot for 100, you're like, damn, like I'm getting a membership now, you know, or shoot under 100. Yeah. I'm getting a membership now because this is addicting, right?
Yeah.
You make enough content where people start reaching out to you and then they mention like your videos are good, you know, even if you feel like they're subpar, like if they're reaching people, then they're good enough, you know. It starts getting addicting and then you start thinking about it consciously as a form of lead gen. And as far as I'm concerned, man, that's a lot better than making cold calls or door knocking. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Or print marketing or something. Like that shit's boring for me, you know? So the social media aspect I think is so important. I'm actually meeting with, what are you doing tomorrow?
Great question.
I guess we're going to go over this live on the podcast, but
yeah.
I'm meeting with an agent. He's one of our buddies. His name's Steve Mitchell.
Okay, I think I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Okay, he's out of the Brighton.
Never talked to him, but I think he sent me a friend request.
Okay, he's out of the Brighton KW office. He's a really good dude. He's a police officer.
Okay,
he's in the he does recruiting for RPD. So he's really good dude. He wants to take me out to lunch tomorrow to teach him like social media stuff and like YouTube stuff and whatnot. So I'm like, hell yeah, man. Like I'm always down to teach or help with that kind of, especially cool people. Like he's cool as fuck. So you would like him a lot. He's a good dude.
I definitely think so too. I like what he posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm sure he feels the same sentiments.
Yep. He's he's a good dude. He knows what he stands for, and he shares that, you know, and he doesn't stray from it. Which is, you know, how him and I got in touch. Well, him and Avery and I got in touch is because like we were trying to make him a team leader for our team out of the Rochester office before we left KW. So he was the guy that we were trying to make like a satellite office team leader. And because he, you know, he aligned with our values and stuff. He's a good dude. So yeah. So really cool.
Starting to move that way with Medicare as well. A team that I went down to West Virginia with is actually a different agency entirely, Empower Agency, which the president of that agency, my father-in-law, taught. So it's kind of like a branch system there, but they're thinking of branching out to Palmyra and starting an office there. And I would be kind of the person who would be the satellite person for that office.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah.
So would you,
a lot of correlations between the two.
Would you still be with Desis Group then? Or would you then become one of them?
You know, that's where I have a lot of confusion at the moment as far as where I am. I mean, I love my father-in-law and I'd love to stay with it. But as far as where that, I mean, the way they have the hierarchy is similar here that we have with EXP as far as where people get paid and on certain levels. I'm still kind of grasping that. But as far as my father-in-law still getting paid, even if I was with them, he would still get a portion of it, him being higher up on the ladder, so to speak.
Because they're under him. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So
I'm like straight to him though. So now I go around and I think he gets a bigger cut.
Yep. That's what I was just going to ask that. Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, for example, like you're under Avery, I'm above Avery. So anything that you sell, right, there's a small portion that goes to Avery, but then a smaller portion that goes to me. Now,
same situation.
Now him and I split our commission share or our revenue share. So, you know, we just get half of all of it anyway. But if we were going how it actually would go, that's how it would go. He would get a larger portion because you're in his first line and you're in my second line. So I'd get a smaller portion. And then you go down to third and it starts to get a little bit bigger. Then fourth, it gets bigger. And then I think the fifth line is the biggest. So I would get paid the most out of the fifth line of my people. So bigger than my second line. And then it goes down a little bit for sixth and down a little bit for seventh, but it's there. We have
incentive there.
Yeah. We have like a spreadsheet that will do all the math for you and stuff. It's pretty legit, but it's cool that EXP has this, dude, because, I don't know if I told you, I think I probably have, I feel like I talk about it a lot, but Avery, when we first got into this company, Avery's first sale with this company was like a $20,000 trailer. Like it was maybe $15,000 trailer. It was like a piece of shit. And the first revenue share check that I got from him from that $20,000 trailer was $150 check. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but then put it into perspective that at KW, Avery capped. And as a capping agent, I didn't get, as his sponsor, I didn't get even $150 for the whole year. And I got it on a $20,000 check or a $20,000 sale versus the $2.5 million that it took to cap at KW. So, dude, the numbers are, I
think it was 4 at Remax for me.
For what?
Million.
Oh, to cap?
Something like that.
Dude. Yeah. So, yeah. It's I look at people over there, I'm not going to name names, but the dude that we met with, the lender that we met with, his wife, who is over there, she does really well. She sells 6 million or something on her own like by herself. No admin. She doesn't pay anybody. It's her. Dude, like I look at the office rent that you guys had to pay over there, or the monthly payments all together, like you could be saving so much fucking money, so much income, for $6 million, dude. That's that's $200,000,
especially for being as socially present and modern as this company is.
Dude, like you could make, and not only that, man, but like she's got all the things that would attract agents to want to work with her, like agents to work with her, know?
And that's what they're trying to do over there too, as well as build that.
Yeah. It doesn't, you're not incentivized for it though. You're not incentivized, you know? I don't know if I told you this. Again, I say so much shit. I don't know who I say it to though. So just stop me if I did, but, we met with a growth leader from our previous company, and I had forgot to say it over breakfast, but I called her back and I said, one thing that you guys could do that would really benefit you is that if somebody sponsors in an agent into the company, they should create a community around that, and they should like do training and stuff for them, not just sponsor them and forget about it. Right. There's a big team, born and raised in our town. They're girls. They have a really good last name that implies that people who are close, you know who I'm talking about?
You didn't even have
okay.
About 3 seconds into that. I knew who you were talking about.
So they sponsored.
You just had to say a team in our town with girls.
Okay, yeah.
Boom.
So they sponsored Avery and I into the company, right? And I'm trying to tread lightly. I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody, but or any company or anything like that. But we're
trying to shine light, not throw shade.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing
to impress upon the point of they sponsored us in, and the day that we met with them to talk about the company, that was the last time we talked to them. Like, and then they were getting all the profit shares from there, whereas here, I mean, Will and Eli sponsored Avery and I in, and now you have access to them. And now anyone underneath us and underneath you has access to them. Jesse and Jackson sponsored Will and Eli into EXP, and we have access to Jesse and Jackson. You have access to Jesse and Jackson. Anyone you bring in has access to them too. And there's real trainings weekly that actually do shit. There's CRMs that they create and they pass to us. There's real products that they can actually like, a real value that they can actually provide to us versus a sponsor who just, hey, this company is great. I'll show you why. I'll tell you why. Okay, you joined. Okay, cool. See ya. I forget you existed. And then also they're like, let's be real. The highest earning profit share over there is Chuck. He's the owner of all the market centers there. He's making like $80,000 or $90,000 a year on profit share. He's got like 600 agents under him. Dude, Jesse and Jackson are making like probably 6 times that in revenue share with not that many, with not 600 agents under them. They might have 200 or 300 and they're making like 6 times that. Like, incredible, dude. It's insane. And that's
the perception you get from going from these different places between KW, Remax. I mean, I don't know. We haven't even talked about Howard Hanna, but
nothing
all these companies
there.
And getting, that you get that insight from, and then you can kind of choose the best option for you. And I think this is the best aligned for us as far as financially and functionally, I'll say, as far as your CRM and the way that we want to operate our businesses socially, and on internet based, so to speak, is definitely best for us.
And that's really why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's not to bring anybody down or any business down or anything like that, but like there's real value to community though, aside from like EXP for us, it's a great business minded decision, right? For our businesses, it makes so much sense. But then in addition to that, for us, it's also community too. And then, but there's value to, if say Howard Hanna, right? I personally believe that there's not much value that they offer above anybody else. I'd go KW 1,000 times over them. And my furnace just kicked on, but
I can hear it.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna let it rock.
No, I'll say it. But book that I just started. So I've read it once before, but I just started reading it again last night. See, I've been coming up with I've been lacking content ideas and stuff, just like ideas in general, creativity. I've been lacking, and normally when I get in that zone where I'm lacking ideas and creativity, I need to start reading. And when I start reading, then it comes back to me. This book here, Tribe of Millionaires, I actually got it from KW. It's a great book, but
there's a benefit.
Yeah, but it talks about your community, right? It talks about getting around good people who are further along than where you are. They're, like, for example, Will and Eli, right? We don't
being able to tap into that. Like, I just felt like with those other brokerages, they're so distant, and I felt like you don't have that line of communication. Whereas
they're all private.
If I wanted to, I could probably get, if I remember correctly, you could have like Jesse or Jackson's phone number, and you could text them and things. Like, that's not even fathomable with other brokerages and things like that.
No, dude, you could text them and they'll know probably exactly who you are. Like they pay attention, and they're not secret agents. They're not people who are just running these secret operations. Like, they're open to giving to literally everybody. And you don't even have to be part of them necessarily. You don't have to. They give shit to
on YouTube or anything like that.
Dude, they give shit to people who aren't even with EXP. Like, they're happy to share, which is amazing. And that's what this book talks about, is just making the decision to get around people who align with what you're doing and where you're going, and who are mostly already where you want to be. It's called Tribe of Millionaires because in the book it's talking about the dude's dad who he was like a low-life father for a while, and the author, or I guess the main character of the book, whose perspective the book is from, he made the decision to distance himself from his father. Finally, his father passed away, and when he went to the funeral, he was very reluctant to go. He was like, man, my dad was a shitbag. Like, he kind of like walked out on us, and he just cared about his failing business too much, whatever, right? He goes, and there's like all these guys in like really nice suits, and like they cared very deeply for his father, and like they said really amazing things, whatever. And he started looking into this, and his dad left him his estate, and he didn't know what the estate was, but he had conditions for taking the estate, and the conditions were that he had to join this tribe of millionaires and spend 7 days straight with them, like live with them for 7 days straight. And then after he did that, he would get the estate and all the contents and everything like that. Well, part of that was so that he would join a group of like-minded people who would get him to where he wants to go and be successful. People, other like-minded men who were already, independently wealthy. They owned businesses. They were good fathers. They were, good mentors. They were good people. They were helping. They were charitable, philanthropic, and really that's as far as I've gotten so far. But it's, it's all about the community,
surround
though.
Yourself with people that you want to be like and you want to be successful with. I don't know. I know the exact saying that they call it, but yeah. It's
like if you hang around with 4 losers, you're going to be the 5th, right? Something like that.
You got it.
And likewise, if you hang around with 4 winners, you're going to be the 5th, Yeah. So, dude, look at sports, bro. Like, look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at the culture that they had, or we'll call it the Patriots.
iron sharpens iron.
Dude, they didn't have exceptional talent on that Patriots team for the past 20 years. You know, they had good players. They had Tom Brady. But what they had more than anything was a community within that locker room that was that had a winning mindset. They knew what that took. And they were
if you weren't in that mindset, you were out. Like,
exactly.
You were shipped out. Yeah.
Dude, that was Michael Jordan. That was Kobe Bryant.
Buy in or get out.
Yep.
Yeah.
They weren't going to settle for an average-minded person. They just weren't, you know. Yep. And I think that's what it takes to really change the game anywhere that you are, in any realm, any facet of life. If you're looking at my video, am I lagging a little bit?
I think more or less
really.
when I start talking, it may lag a little bit, but from my end, no.
Okay. I'm fearing maybe I don't think so, but I'm fearing maybe a mic delay here.
Okay.
I don't have a mic delay, but sometimes when you go for the playback, the longer you keep talking, the more you'll notice it. Yeah, your voice isn't aligned with the movement of your mouth, you know.
Okay.
It's one of those really annoying things. I've experienced it in the past, but I thought I fixed the issue, and I haven't had that issue in a while, but I feel like I don't know, I can't really tell if I'm noticing it now, but
it looks okay on mine. Maybe a little bit of I don't know if the word you're looking for is a latency issue as far as the lag, but I mean, I noticed a little bit on mine, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, no, it might be split second or something.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now Medicare busy season is effectively like done now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
now it's more or less people asking questions about when their card's coming in, what am I going to look like as far as next year. But as far as the whole plan analysis and looking at people's prescriptions and doctors and health situations and what they want for the next year, the bulk of it's over. It's just more or less answering questions, and if anyone has any kind of issues before the end of the year comes, getting that out of the way. But yeah, like I said, the bulk of it's over, thankfully.
So now that the bulk of that's over, are you gonna try and focus more on like real estate?
Yeah, as far as just having more of an open schedule, so to speak. I mean, my clients, an appointment would take probably a minimum of 2 hours as far as sitting down. And the way that we operate is we build relationships with people. We're not there to just strictly be transactional. So to sit down, take your information. Okay, well, this is the plan we think. You go with that one. Okay, see you out the door. No, I'm sitting there and I'm talking about people's families. I'm sitting there, maybe they lost a loved one. So one of my clients had lost a son who had committed suicide, and also lost a husband. I believe she lost him to dementia. The son was unfortunately, he was a Black Hawk pilot, and unfortunately killed himself. So I spent a lot of time with her at her house and just kind of hanging out and talking about all her pictures and everything. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, I'm oversharing, blah, blah." I'm like, this is why I do what I do, is so that I can share these stories and be there for my clients more than just a transactional person, being a human being, and just being more of a number. So that's a reason why I do what I do.
Well, and that's what, you know, that's what attracts us to you and vice versa, right? Is that type of mentality versus, you know, the last person you had, something like that was mainly salesy, mainly transactional. Like Avery's a little bit more of like with meetings and stuff, get in and get out. You've been on meetings with me. You see how they go. Sometimes you can get sucked into a long ass conversation, long ass like day, which is exhausting for me, but
hey, it pays off.
It does. It pays off. And you know, those type of things for me, they matter. You know, I understand and I subscribe to like, hey, you need to kind of live by a calendar type thing. Right. But or you need to be disciplined about your schedule. So if there's other appointments and whatnot, like, okay, we need to, establish that up front so that, hey, we have a 2:30 cutoff. I've got 2 hours or whatever, right?
Yep.
But then I got to cut it. But if there's nothing else, like, in you got no other commitments or plans or anything, like, and you're good to shoot the shit a little bit, man, I think that's a good thing, Like, it's a good thing. I'm all for shorter meetings and whatnot, like conserving your time and energy. But in a business sense, when you get out of like the selfish kind of realm, like a business sense and like how you want to run your own business, it's a great way to build your business on those relationships, because they're going to be the ones to refer you. They're going to be the ones to we talked about it last time. Like,
stay top of mind.
Yep. And they'll refer you to their the people that trust them the most. And that's the most important thing, man. It's like we said last time, it's a hard thing to refer somebody to somebody that trusts you. If they don't do a good job, that person's gonna be like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you recommending this turd to me?
Yep. You just went from here on their status down to the bottom floor pretty much, and now you're not top of mind because of that.
Right. No, exactly. And I'm just trying to kind of
a little.
Yeah. What So I guess here's a good point that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So I had a situation, I think I told you about this, that I had a buy and sell. You know about these people. And just in the off chance that this other agent listens to this podcast, he doesn't, but just in case, I'm not going to say where. But it was a buy and sell. You stood an open house with me.
Yep.
And you showed the house that they got under contract with. You didn't show it to them, but you showed the same house. So these people, their son was essentially best friends with another agent that I actually know very well. I mentored for a lot of the time that I was at KW. I mentored this kid. He's a little bit younger than us, but you may have played basketball with his older brother, who was 1 year younger than me, but he was a decent, an okay basketball player. Anyway, so these people, they knew him very well. They knew he was an agent, but they knew he was like newer. He wasn't very experienced. He didn't sell a lot. And so being my in-laws' neighbors, they just came over and they were asking me questions about buying a house. It was a kind of a spur of the moment thing. They hadn't been thinking about it too much. And they just saw a house that kind of got them like off the seat, or off the ledge. And they came over to my in-laws' house when I was over there, and they just were asking me questions about buying and stuff. They said, do you mind like submitting an offer for us? And that's kind of how they got started with me in buying and selling. Now, after they had bought their house and after we had listed their house, they told me that they knew he was an agent, and that he knew me, and that he essentially like spent a lot of time growing up at their house. So they knew him very well. And they said they were just going to call him and just say, hey, it's nothing personal. But like, we just wanted to let you find out from us and not from somebody else. Right. And, and this is why, and whatever.
Sounds like the right thing to do.
Yeah. Sure. And I said, by all means, like, absolutely, I'd probably do that too, type thing. And, dude, the agent, put them on blast over the phone. He was so pissed off, swearing at them. Like, I feel like my own mother just betrayed me. Like, I feel like my own father just betrayed me, and like making them feel terrible, dude. And they called and told me this, and they were like, hey, just so you know, he wasn't happy. So in case it comes back to you, just know, like, this is kind of how it went. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I don't appreciate that reaction out of them, out of the agent. I don't think that's a mature thing to do. I don't think it's a good business move. I think it shows a lack of maturity, and I think it shows a lack of business sense, and it shows why you made the right decision in choosing me. You know?
Yep.
And then
I've definitely been faced in that situation already with people choosing times. And obviously me being new, and that's not how I've reacted. One time I said, hey, you know what, if you ever have any questions or you feel like you have any doubt, I'm here for you. Yep. I totally understand where you're coming from and why you're choosing another person. I appreciate you taking the time to tell me this.
Yep.
But maybe you can choose me in the future if you decide to sell or purchase again. Just keep me in mind.
Yep.
And so that's how I go about it.
And that's exactly it. Like, does it hurt? Like, you feel like you just got kicked in the balls? Of course.
Oh, it feels like someone just fucking stabbed you right in the heart.
But like of course, because you care, and also like it's your business, dude. Like, you know, you rely on this kind of stuff, and you would hope that the people you care about the most, or that you know the best, would trust you in something like this, right? But it happened a million times to Avery and I, a million times, and especially in the beginning of our career. As you get going, more people start to know, like, okay, you know what the fuck you're doing, you know. But
exactly.
But until you prove yourself, why would somebody trust you? You know, like, you haven't proved yourself, you haven't done shit yet, you know. And that's what we learned. That was the hardest thing to grapple with, was we haven't done shit yet. Why would people trust us? We haven't given them a reason to trust us, you know, besides being a friend. But why would they trust you in the most expensive investment of their life, or most expensive purchase of their life, right? Or their childhood home that they took over as an adult and now they're selling after 45 years. You know, like, why would they trust you with something like that, when you haven't given them a reason to?
With almost $1 million worth of real estate.
Yep. No, exactly, dude. And
pretty important.
Yeah, and you know, they're relying on you to make the correct decisions and stuff. And then with these people, we got one offer. We weren't very happy about the situation. We thought we were going to maybe get more offers, but most people in the market, you know, what we're coming to see now is that was the beginning of the market now, where people are like, okay, this house is going to go so far over asking price that we just don't even want to try and compete, because we know we can't compete, right? So they didn't offer. But everybody was thinking that way. And when everybody thinks that way, you end up getting like no offers. So we did end up getting one offer that escalated up to the price point that they wanted. They weren't very happy because the escalation started at asking price, and you know, asking price is a marketing strategy. And so where they wanted to be was 20,000 over the asking price, and that's where this offer escalated to. And so I said, you know what, we don't have any other offers to escalate this offer, but what we're going to do is we're going to counter back, and we're going to say, hey, because you're contingent, we're going to counter at the top of your escalation, 300,000, you know, and that's where we want to be at. And most agents would be like, look, 280, that's all you got, you know, sorry. Like, this other agent that they called, that they knew, I know for a fact they would have called the other person back and been like, hey, you got it for 280, congrats, you know. Whereas it takes somebody who is a little bit gutsy, maybe a little bit delusional, like to say, hey, you know, like, we're going to counter back at 300 because we're taking a risk on this, you know, and find a reason to justify that. And the other agent said, cool, let's do it, you know, and they were happy with that. And so, like, it's, you know, for other agents, like, getting pissed at somebody for not choosing you, you need to really evaluate, okay, how would you handle these hard scenarios with somebody who is trusting you with this? Are you going to push the envelope to maybe take a risk and you know, say something like that counter offer that I did? Or are you just going to say, go to them because it's an easier conversation, because you talk to them like they're your parents anyway and say, hey, sucks to sucks, 280, you know? And that's what most agents are going to do. And, you know, the way that we run our businesses is like, you're looking out for your client there and you care about them. You need to get what they want, you know? And
they already communicated to you what they're looking for, and like, okay, well, we're going to get that, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get that for you. Obviously within means, but you had the means there that they escalated to that price, so you knew what you had to do and executed on it. So, and
you know, that's the challenging part, man, is just that there's a lot of other agents who wouldn't do that, and especially this agent. I just know for a fact that he wouldn't. And but you know, I was telling Avery about this, about how he responded, and we were both like, well, dude, like, maybe if back 3 years ago when you started, you were getting on social media like we told you to, or you were posting about the wins that you actually had like we told you to, or you actually made yourself known in real estate, or to be a real estate agent like we told you to, maybe they wouldn't have gone with somebody else, because maybe they would have trusted you enough. Maybe they would have thought you had experience enough, you know? But instead, you choose to be a secret agent and not let anyone know about you and just do showings for other people to make $30 a showing. Like, what the hell are you doing, you know? And you're not even showing on social media the showings that you're going on. And so nobody knows what the hell you're doing. For all anyone else knows is that you're working a 9-to-5 job somewhere else, you know? They're not thinking about you like as a real estate agent. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, bro, that's your own fucking fault, you know?
I honestly don't even know the name of the person that you're even talking about. I know you mentioned it to me before. But,
you might not know him.
Goes to show you that they're not not putting their name out there. And one of the things you talk about, your biggest fear is people forgetting your name or that you do real estate. And I don't think that's even fathomable at this point. But as far as that person, I don't even know him.
Dude, no, and you know, what we say is it's not somebody's job to remember what you do for a living. It's your job to remind them of what you do for a living. So that means you have to constantly stay in front of people. And when most people have their face in their phone a majority of the day, you need to show up on their phone, you know? You have to. You don't need to text them. You don't need to call them all the time, but you need to show up on their phone somehow, you know? And it's whatever app they're going to be on.
Things that they want to see.
And you know, it doesn't even have to be like, I think we told you this, like, it doesn't even have to be business related all the time. It could just be life related, you know, like just something in life or something about the community, you know, like, I posted that thing about the Finger Lakes a few weeks ago. Dude, it got a lot of shares. Like, a lot of people shared that. And literally it was just a drone shot going over Naples, and it had the mountains, and it said like the top 5 things about the Finger Lakes or whatever. And people were sharing the shit out of that. Like, people like that kind of stuff, you know? That's share worthy content. That's all you have to do to stay in front of people, man. You know, as long as you're there in front of them, they're going to remember what you're doing or who you are, you know? But you just have to be in front of them, or else they will forget who you are, you know? So it's just crazy. So what are you doing? I forgot to ask in my last question. The whole point of the question was to ask you, like, what are you doing to stay motivated now? Now that like your Medicare busy season is like done, and you know, real estate sales right now, it looks like you have some future sales, but like, you know, nothing currently in the pot. Like, what are ways that you're staying on top of things and staying motivated and like, you know, continuing to, because dude, a lot of people, they see nothing in their pipeline and they're like, fuck man, I'm not cut out for this, you know, and they get down in the dumps. So what are you doing to stay on top of that?
That's a great question.
Is it strictly mindset, or is it like, is it now the motivation of like, hey, I need to support my family somehow, you know, and this is what I got.
That's the big ticket item is trying to support my family right now. I know we touched on it in the last podcast as far as wanting to support them and be able to provide and allow Zoe to homeschool if possible, put the kids in sports or music or whatever they want to do, is definitely the biggest motivator for me. And I think definitely slowing down, moving out of the Medicare period, so to speak, and then being able to hopefully do more content. And that's one of the main reasons why I joined on with you guys and with EXP and with the teams that are above us, is because they are just like the gurus of content. And that's what I think is going to be the entire industry, so to speak, is if you don't get with that, you're going to get left behind. Like, there are the aging realtors that are in the business right now that, you have your name, you've established it, but when they move out, it's going to be everyone that's on these platforms that's paying attention to you, that's getting that name around, and moving away from, I think, more of the mail and everything. As far as your mail drops and everything, no one cares about that. They rip it up and throw it in their recycling. But if you're going up on your Facebook every so often, and that's, I think, the way things are moving towards. So that's why I made the jump over. But yeah, as far as putting out more content, I think is my biggest next step that I need to do, and stay diligent and consistent. Will be huge for me.
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest things with that, man, is that, like for us, for me, again, I get in these, like I said earlier, I get in these content lulls. So like I just, creativity is not flowing. And so I pick up a book and I start reading. Or I'll go on YouTube and I'll search for things or whatever, you know. But then as far as learning about this stuff, obviously YouTube is a great resource for that. You can learn how to do all this. But you do you still have the drone?
I do have my drone. Yep.
So now what you can do is, just like if you want a faceless video, something that you don't need to actually talk on, like exactly what I just said in that video flying over Naples, like get some cool drone footage in 10 seconds worth or something, right?
Definitely have it.
Yeah, of smooth flying drone, like over the lake, or, you know, with houses or something.
Neighborhood. I actually, when I was down in Huntington, I got the University of Marshall. I know what they call themselves.
Yeah.
Sweet drone shot around the field. I got the river. I got a whole bunch of that for down there.
Yeah.
But back here, I got the neighborhoods and the lakes and everything.
So now that's what you can do, is take that footage, upload it, and you know, you can just transfer it over to your phone, however you do that. And you can even transfer the landscape video, and then your phone has the option to change the size of it or whatever. So you don't even have to put it in InstaSize or any of these other apps. You can just change it, like, you know, when you go into your photos, you can click edit and you can change the colors or whatever. Up top, there's like a resizing thing, and you can change it to the 9:16, and then just position it how you want. I mean, it looks really good. It's still the high quality everything. But then you can put it in any app you want to do, you know, tips or points or, you know, whatever you want to do to it.
What do you use for that?
So for that one, I used my editing software that I have, which is Filmora, Wondershare, Filmora. But you can do GarageBand. You can do whatever else you have. You could even do the Captions app. The Captions app will do it. You could do. There's a few apps that do it. I'm drawing a blank on the name now, but you could even do Canva. You can put it in Canva and do it. Literally you just time, like, you know, a new blurb or a new text blurb every 2 seconds to say something different, you know? So, you know, it's a good way to, when you don't have something to say, like you physically, you can say something else through whatever. And you can literally just copy from other people. Like, you know, that's easy. Rip off and duplicate, like you said, steal like an artist, right? It's the best way to do it. And it's good content too, good content, and it could be real estate related. It could be professional development. It could be personal development. It could be talking about the Buffalo Bills, like, it could be literally whatever, but just something to stay in front of people. Do you like take notes throughout the day or anything like that? Like, I know like a lot of people, as they encounter an issue or a question or something, they'll write it down in their phone, and that's like where they get their ideas from. I don't personally do that. But I want to, because dude, I think you're like me. Like, we have a million tabs open in our head and we don't close them out, right? That's like the ADHD, ADD brain. So like my computer right now, I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 13 tabs open. And I don't close them out. Like, I just don't. But I feel like that's what's going on.
Because you want to be able to go back to them.
Yeah. I feel like that's what's going on in my head. But then what happens is when you get too many tabs open, you forget about the ones that are on the far side, right? So it's like, you got to write those down.
You could always just go to the history and check, but instead you leave it open and you slow down your computer, and then you forget, like, wait, I'll get back to that. Don't worry. I'm going to open it later today. I'm going to look at it. And like 4 days later, like, you still have it open. A week later, well, that tab's still open. And
and by that time you forgot what you wanted it open for, right? And that's a perfect analogy for what goes on inside our heads with this ADD brain shit. And, then you forget about, like, I get content ideas all the time. Even when I'm in a lull, I'll get an idea, but then I don't have time to like record it right then and there. Cause normally I do things like the power of now. Like, I'll do it once I get the idea, I go do it. Like, I have to, because I know I'm going to forget it. But if I don't have the time to go do it, I
just do it.
I forget to write it down. And then if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget it. And then I'll never get that video done. Then tomorrow I'll look at it and be like, the fuck was I thinking about? Like, I had a great video lined up and, I forgot, and so do you do anything like that? Do you take notes in your phone, or do you just kind of do it the same way that I do? Like, keep it in your head and then forget to do it?
I would say honestly a multitude of all of those. I have a whiteboard over here that I write my stuff on. So typically I took it down to West Virginia and we were doing our Medicare planning on it. So as far as what we were doing throughout the day, we had that planned out on there. So it's empty at the moment, but I did, when I came back, I wrote on there, I got my Medicare vid. So I'm going to talk about spam emails and how to kind of try and stop those with those calls and everything. Talk about election periods, all the parts. So I did actually start rewriting stuff on there. I took a picture of the board before I went down to West Virginia. So I had all my information on there as far as what I was trying to do, my buyers, all that. And I also I do have the notes in my phone. So I put everything down in my notes that I want to. But like you said with the tabs, as far as going back to that, I just totally forget. Like, oh yeah, let me just pop through my notes. I'll just open it up instead of having like a reminder or something that I can easily pop back to. Like, I have another smaller over here. I have a smaller whiteboard that I write things on. I don't really want to show it on here, but I'll do the back side of it because I have my clients' names on it.
Okay, yeah.
But I do have a smaller one that I'll check off on here. But I have my to-do list, so to speak, on that. But if I don't write it down, I'm gonna forget about it. So I definitely subscribe to that,
dude, all the time, man, all the time. Do you have anything that you're like kind of working on that you want to get out into the world? Anything, like, obviously you want clients, right? What do you want? What do you want our followers to do for you? What do you want them to support you somehow? Send clients?
I don't know. I definitely would like to get a win in the books as far as still being a zero on the board. For real estate. Obviously, I have those clients that are hopeful clients. And I have probably about 5 buyers in waiting that could be working towards. But as far as people that are ready, willing, and wanting to buy now and needing to buy now, I don't have those buyers at the moment. I'm hoping that from what we just saw on the news today, as far as rates dropping a little bit more, and then hearing that there may be 3 rate drops next year is good news. Whether I think it's going to be incredible rates, like, yeah, we're going to have 4% next year. Yeah, you better throw that out the window and try again. You're like, if we even break 6.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's something. I mean, it's enough to get people energized and motivated. Like, oh, okay, things are easing back towards that way. So it's a step in the right direction.
Yep.
I think the light at the end of the tunnel is there for us. Hopefully, I mean, obviously we can talk politics again with the election year and things like that. They'll obviously want to paint the year with rose-colored glasses. But I mean, it's good for us business-wise, and I'm hoping that it'll help project me and get me going here, so to speak. But as far as the listeners helping me out, I mean, if what we're doing here is just trying to get our name out there, and hopefully people feel confident enough and find value in us as far as Medicare and for me and real estate for the both of us, and just anything really. Just feel confident enough that we'll do a good job for you.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely. Everybody wants buyers and sellers, so investors, whatever they are.
Yeah. Do you struggle a little bit with confidence, like just being newer? Like, do you?
I would say so. Yeah. Overall, I'm a pretty confident person, and I'm well spoken, and I don't have any problem with those kinds of situations. But yeah, I would definitely say a little bit as far as my knowledge base goes. I know with Medicare, I didn't even feel like practicing that for a year because there was just so much to it. And with real estate, I think because of the way the market is I haven't been able to be as consistent with showings and offers and winning offers and like being, so to speak, in the business and enveloped in the business, so to speak. So like, it's hard to like put it to memory. But as far as knowing how to, I guess, put in an offer and help people win, I know I can still do it.
Yep.
It's just whether I can get those people motivated and everything, I guess, is more of the confidence issue there.
Yeah. Well, so that is, that's the hardest part about not being like salesy is like, if we were salesy, we could come up with some sort of slick script to get somebody off the fence, right? But that's not how we roll because we want it to be the right decision for them and to make sense for them.
All about organic and genuine. So that's me to a T.
Yep. So we don't roll that way. But like in the Medicare side, there's a lot more, I'll call it academia, right? With the Medicare stuff, like a lot more of a learning process before you get into actually selling a policy or whatever. Whereas real estate, the only way you can learn about it is by doing it. You can like the licensing course, right? Tells you how not to get arrested, how not to get fined, how not to get your license taken.
Compliance.
Yep. But as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't do shit for you. You don't need to know how many feet are in a mile or how many acres are in, or how many feet are in an acre or whatever.
Like feet or whatever. Yeah.
Like you don't need to learn that shit. Like, teach me how to communicate with a client about what's going on in the market or at a showing or what things to look at in a house. If I'm an inspector or if I'm an appraiser, how am I going to look at a house? How am I going to do these things? Right. And how am I going to communicate those things to clients? And then also, how do I communicate with other agents about the sale, about the house? And then what is the workflow of that being? Okay, you schedule a showing and then what, right? Then you take your client through the house. Once you're done with the showing, then you call the agent and you see how much interest there's been. And then you call them again before offers are due. How many offers are you anticipating? What's feedback been like? Then you write up the offer. How do you write an offer, right? And then from there, you submit the offer. How do you go about communicating with the agent to make sure they got your offer? And if there's any questions or anything like that, and then they accept an offer, then what do you do? Then you send, you send the email to the attorneys. Who do you include in the emails? What do you say in those emails? It's things like that where it's like, it's not complex. It's not like complicated, but it's like, it takes repetitions to know just what to say, verbiage, things like that, precisely. Like whatever the process is. And it's not, I mean, then you build a relationship now where like with any, like I just sent a new contract over to the attorneys for attorney approval today. And, you know, it used to be when I was sending those contracts over, it was very professional, like very like, if you were to go into ChatGPT and you were to type in, give me the most professional form of an email sending over a contract, like, it would be what it would spit out, right? Like you're a diplomat. Now I basically say like attached is the contract for this property where I am representing the seller and so-and-so is representing the buyer. You know, these attorneys are
a maximum
attached.
of 5 sentences,
Yeah, like,
pretty much.
please copy in my transaction coordinator who's copied herein. Like, and let me know if you have any questions. That's it.
Yep.
Be advised of the 1-day attorney approval. Be advised of the 30-day closing, you know. That's it, you know, and I look forward to working with you guys.
Anything you wanted to highlight. Yep.
Like, and that's really it. If there's special conditions, but like, you don't know to do that unless you've done it, you know, or unless somebody is sitting with you to actually do it. They don't teach you that in licensing school or in the licensing course. Like, so it's like, it's hard to build that confidence as an agent.
Foundations and everything. And it's like, you're not even going to be able to see that when you're going through a house.
No.
Like, how do they pour the cement? Like, 75 hours, they got to really fit it in there.
Yeah, no. No, dude. And you know, the course sucks, dude. The course, it really sucks. And, it makes everybody so ill prepared. I don't know how I want this mic. I'm trying to like rearrange my office and stuff down here, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't love it, but it is what it is.
Sounds good there.
Yeah. But so the course really doesn't do anything to prepare you. So like confidence as a new agent is tough. That's the toughest part. And so you really have to like portray this almost like false confidence, right? Because if you're portraying that you're not confident in what you're saying, no, I know. And that's hard. And dude, like in the beginning of our career, we believed in fake it till you make it. Right. Like I don't believe in that now. I believe in act as if until something happens. Right. So it's not faking it. It's not being fake, because faking it is implying that you're fake. Right. Acting as if is you are acting in this role. You are this person. And you believe that you are, and, you know, your results are starting to show that. So it's act as if instead of fake it till you make it. And I subscribe to that now. But if you're looking to act as if you're an accomplished real estate agent, how would you be acting? And chances are you're going to be talking like you're confident. You're going to be standing up straight. You're going to be researching things. You're going to be doing your comps. You're going to be doing, you know, all these things, making content, whatever.
Checking your PCDs, looking at all the attachments on your homes you're looking at.
That's the stuff that is going to build the confidence there. And then it's also going to be the more conversations you have with clients where don't talk about, like, don't step out of your lane as far as what you know, but step into the lane of what you do know. So you don't need to know everything, but if you communicate what you know, that's a little trick for clients to be like, man, he really knows what the fuck he's talking about. So if you don't know about foundations, but you know about roofs, right? Talk about the roof. Don't talk about the foundation. You know, just defer that to someone else, right? Yeah. I'll get a mason.
I don't see any mold in here. Or you look for the ducts, you see that there's holes drilled in there. You know that the ducts were cleaned out and things like that.
Exactly.
Going to the electrical box, seeing that it's 200 amps or if it's 100 amps, and what kind of electrical box, and making sure everything's all set in those aspects.
Yep, 100%. And speaking about what you know is the quickest way to build confidence. And but then it's also keeping the promises that you make to yourself too, right? You promise yourself that you're going to be a good real estate agent, or a good Medicare rep, or a good anything, right? It's like you build confidence by actually doing that, by actually being good at that, you know? and whatever it takes to do that. It's practice. It's getting in front of people. It's, talking, like role playing with your wife, not in a bedroom sense, but like, in
you're headed that way.
in the business sense of like, hey, talk to me like you're a client, ask questions about it, and let me see if I can answer, right? Somebody that you trust, who's not going to like make fun of you. And there's really no negative effects if you answer incorrectly,
Yep.
If you don't know something, look it up quick and then answer now that you know it, it's it's those kind of things, and
the repetition.
And that's the only way you can build confidence, man. So like, I know you don't need me telling you that, but like, that's the main problem with even people who are 2 years into it, 3 years into it, if they've only sold like 6 properties or, 10 properties, they're not confident yet. They're not like fully confident in what they're doing. They're just taking their best stab at things, and then they're being resourceful too, right? You said earlier, you said, let me get my phone connected as the camera. And I asked you how you're going to do that. And you said, Google. And dude, that's being resourceful. Like that's all you have to do. We have that at our fingertips. Yep.
I'm a problem solver. Yep. That's what I'll do.
And dude, once you figure out that everything is figure outable, like that's like the biggest thing that you can know, because now you don't have to worry about not knowing something. It's, hey, I'll figure it out. I don't know right now, or I'm drawing a blank on this. Let me figure it out for you. Give
me 24 hours and I'll figure it out.
Maybe not even that long. You can probably figure it out in 30 minutes, let me sit down and figure it out real quick, and I'll get back to you as soon as I do. And
I did it with the camera.
Yep. Dude, it's that easy. Like it's that easy. And once you start figuring out that like, I am a bad bitch, I dropped my pen here somewhere. But like I can literally figure anything out, then you're like, there's nothing I really can't do in this business. I just need the reps now, getting the reps means getting in front of people and answering those questions and just going through it. Sometimes it is getting it wrong, and that part sucks.
You can't be afraid to fail either.
No. And you just got to hope that the times you do fail aren't catastrophic, right? Like you're not making a massive mistake for somebody, right? If it's a small deal, you can get it wrong. But if it's a small issue, I should say, you can get it wrong, but if it's something that's like going to cost them $100,000, like, hey, you probably shouldn't get that wrong, So there's a varying amount of, I don't know if concern or importance in this business, but when you prioritize the things that are really important, you learn those things quickly and leave the things that are unimportant, by the wayside, and then you can figure those out as you go. But that's the important stuff, man. But we've been going for about an hour and a half now. I got to get hopping off. What else do you have? You have any final rounds or anything that you want to touch on or talk about?
Nah, other than like you were saying with the repetitions, we both are big Lil Wayne fans, and one of his famous lines there is "Repetition is the father of learning." So all those songs ingrained deeply into our minds through middle school and high school.
Yeah, dude, the biggest line that sticks out to me, that's always stuck out to me, is if it costs to be the boss, oh well, I guess I gotta pay. And that's, dude, literally since shit, man, probably 5th grade, like, like 5th grade, I think I was singing that, if it costs to be a boss, oh well, I guess I gotta pay. And that's the truth, man. Like it's not that it costs financially, right? But it might cost time, it might cost energy, fortitude, discipline, those kind of things. There is a cost.
Always monetary federal notes or U.S. money. It's a lot of other ways to pay for things.
Yep. And in this business, it's just time. Like it's time. It's going to be, whether it's time in the immediate sense or it's time to get your business up and going, which could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
Time and effort.
And those are, great points. Great points. And Lil Wayne is a genius for those ones, you know.
More philosophical than we know,
dude.
Well, I mean, we know, but
I always just listen to like, oh man, he's got a Bugatti, or, you know, like I've always listened to just at that time, you always just took it for being like good music. You know, you never listened to what things
aspect
meant.
Of it.
Yeah. But now I go back to it, and dude, all I listen for in music now is the message. What is the message? And if a song is like, that's why I hate rap music now. And we're getting in the weeds on this, I know, but I hate rap music now because there's no real message to it. You know, so like I like Logic. I like, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of people that I like. Maybe it's not like the best in the genre, right? They're not the best artists in the genre, but they have great lyrics. Yeah. They have great lyrics, and they actually mean shit, and like it, you know, helps you think about things. And that's normally what I go with, but cool. Anything else? No? Gonna wrap this up. I got quite a bit to do still. I'm gonna try and release this like right now. So
thanks for having me. Thanks for listening to those who listen through here.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, be sure to go on and subscribe to the show, and don't be a hoe, share the show. It's the only way that we can grow. So
all right, now we're rapping.
I know. I know. Yeah. I was just going to say poet and don't even know it, but that was too corny. But yeah, share the show, guys. We appreciate you guys. Be sure to subscribe and to like the channel, and to go to our social medias and follow us on social media. Give us any feedback that you have.
The F is for follow, by the way.
The F is for follow. Yeah.
Wheezy F.
Yo.
The F is for follow.
Love it. All right, cool, guys. Well, appreciate you guys for listening if you got it this far, and until the next episode, we'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
See you.